Okay, so it's now time to start taking our rough backgrounds that we put together for our environments and now cleaning them up and preparing them for our actual backgrounds in our film. So hopefully, from those designs and where you've gone and worked out your storyboard, if you have other angles and different camera positions looking at that background, or if you got more than one location, we'll have to work all those out from the rough to the cleanup and to the final color. So for mine, again, recommend it keeping it simple. I have one location, and that's the driver's license bureau. And I have a left-hand view and a right-hand view. So I'm seeing the one side of the room and then the other side of the room. Again, I'm using the 3/4 front of this character here in this one, and the 3/4 back of the hawk when he comes into the scene about here. And then it's the opposite in the other side. I'll have the 3/4 back of this character, 3/4 front of the hawk. So keeping it straightforward. 30 seconds, being able to tell the story and have those two characters interact. So the big thing here is now cleaning this up. So I've done that and worked all that out, get it as clean a line as I can, and then going to be taking that into Photoshop and coloring it up. So now I've scanned in my left-hand view of my set, and I've cleaned it up, so the same as I've been showing before, to get just good black and white in the backgrounds and black in the lines and such. But what I haven't done is separate this out because it's going to be necessary that my character is behind that counter. So what I had to do is go in with my eraser tool. I had to save out two of these. So I erased all around here to get rid of all the background in this. So I had just the counter and anything in the foreground. And then do the opposite for the other. I had to erase everything of the counter and just extend the lines and such so that I've got the background to give me a little leeway. So what I ended up with in this view is, here we go. So I got rid of or erased out the counter, and then just finished these lines down here, and then got this one ready for paint. So I did the copy of the background and made it a line level and labeled that as multiply. So, and then I created another level for color. So rather than layers, I did all in one. It's kind of a lazy method, but that's kind of the way I work. So I did a color version on the background, which we have here. So it's all block color. Now you can see in some spots I have a graduation, and that's where I used. Over here, we have the pencil tool, which is what we've mostly been using. If you use the brush tool, and then go up here, you can play around with the settings on the opacity and the flow of the paint that would come out of that airbrush. And let me just make that bigger, and I will demonstrate just a little bit, and it's totally up to you if you want to use this tool. So one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to pick this dark color here. So that's what shows up. Having the brush, and again, I've got about a, let's just try 50% opacity and a flow of 25. Now, if you've ever used an airbrush before, this works just like a real airbrush. And I had spent years working with airbrushes and having to cut frisket masks and everything, and oh my goodness, what a nightmare. Now to be able to do that digitally, what a treat this was. This was great. Do that. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight in my color layer. I am going to, pick the magic wand, and I'm just going to grab here so that the airbrush is contained within the highlighted area here. Now I'm going to go back to my brush, and there we go. Yeah, that's a bit of a harsh flow here. I want to kind of build that up. So this is what I love about this. I can step back and do it again. So that went on pretty strong. So I want to back all of this off by a good bit so that I can build it up. The other thing maybe what I should do is go a little bit bigger. Look at when you get into the big end here of airbrush, it really jumps up in pixels. So you have to be very careful. Look, all of a sudden it goes into that giant. Let me just come back there. All right, I'll just stick with this. So you could see if you can build that up. So if you want to have some gradation and such, this is just a great way of doing that. Not that this is the greatest example of where to use it, but that's what I used in here. So I've got like a highlighted spot on the wall, and it goes back here. So I could have done that as well on this wall. And let me use my magic wand. And if I wanted to use a hotspot or have a gradation inside, I could have done the same there. Let me use my marquee tool so I can select this color, go back to here. I will go that slightly bigger. That's probably where I can use this big one. And you can see how I'm just lightening up that spot there. So something you can play with. And again, not mandatory. You can use straight flat colors. The danger with the airbrush is that you overdo it and you got way too many shades and things going on. And again, we don't want the backgrounds too busy. We want to make sure our characters stand out. And the colors I chose on this one were deliberately to be muted so that the colors of the character jumps off the background. So I didn't use bright colors and things on the background. I wanted to keep those neutral, so that the colors pop out for the character. Okay, so hopefully that helps out. Let's see, what else have I got here? There we go. And here's that other part that I had erased out and put together here so that we have a overlay. And I had to prep that one so that, again, I made a copy, did the multiply on the line work, and then I painted just what I want in the overlay, which is right there. Now when I get rid of this background, again, I want to make sure this background was transparent. So anything I wanted to see the background through, I made sure it was on transparent on this one. So now I will go in and export this as a PNG, maintaining the transparent background. So this will be a transparent level over top. Now, it might be difficult in this case because my character, this would work well if my character was completely in behind the counter. But because I have a split over here, that's going to make it a little more confusing. There's the option where you can build this in 3ds Max. And yeah, because what's going to happen is I'm going to have a flat in here that is going to block in between, but you know, it could still work. Anyway, it's all about experimentation and playing and see if we can make the leveling work and create the illusion of dimension of the character behind and in front of this little partition here, and then having the background work. So putting these two things back together gives me the completed background that I have here. Okay. Otherwise, if this is straight background, which is more like your guys' cases, you can do it all in one, paint it all, and it's all good to go. Then map that onto a plane, and there's your background. You're ready to go. Alrighty. So, okay, now here's the right-hand view of the License Bureau. And this is where we'll be seeing the 3/4 front of the hawk, and what would be happening here is where I see the back of the PSA character, whereas behind the counter and then up on top of the counter, so that it all works in that case. Okay, so I do have the counter here in the foreground, and then the background I have the back wall and those details. So the hawk character would be kind of hidden by this counter here, so I need to layer this. I'll have to split this up. So in this case, I did, once I've gone for my rough and started doing a cleanup, and what I did is I have my blue here, and in this case I kind of going to draw it in two sections. So draw the foreground element and have that worked out, and then here's my background element. So, and now it's a matter of cleaning up part of that process. So here I just started doing the line work a bit on this poster here. In some cases, you can be making use of these French curves here if you want to make a nice clean edge here. I do have these long sloping arcs in the ceiling and the floor, and yeah, this is a bit short on the curvature there, so it's not going to help me much. Again, I talk about freehanding it, and I'm happy to do that too, that we can be starting. And let me see if I can get another piece of paper here to put my hand over. And I can be very carefully be drawing that arc and doing that as clean as I can. Not trying to do it all in one go. And again, I can use an eraser. Yeah, look at that. I even already got a blip going on there. So I might be doing this all a little too quick. But you can see, yeah, but I can try and take my time and practice. I think that's the thing. Before you tackle something like this, you'd want to practice and get a nice edge on your pencil to be able to deal with that. Yeah, maybe I'm doing a little better trying to do it all in one go. But you can see where that can be a little challenging, but then it gives it that hand quality look. But if you do want a nice slick line and need a guide for it, something that's not in your art kit, but something you should be aware of, and that's what I wanted to show on this one. You can get something like this. It's called a flexi curve. It's kind of got rubber, and it's got a bit of wire or metal inside that lets you make it a little flexible. So if I take this line down here, I can kind of work on that line here, and just see if I can get it a bit here. And then from here I can bring this up to follow my blue. There we go. That was a lot easier than this rough thing here. So again, a unique solution for a unique situation here. Again, I like drawing on the big 11x17 when doing the background, so that when I get into smaller things, I'm not, drawing microscopic, that I have room to do that detail. But something to be aware of if you, and again, chances are you're not having these sort of things, but if you do want to have that assistance, be aware of a flexi curve. You'll find this in drafting supply as well as art supply and such. So just to be aware of those, that they're a handy thing to have, and to be able to help work on these arcs like I have on the grid on the floor and in the ceiling. So let me just see if I can play with that a bit more here. There you go. And then keeping that and moving this up. And yeah, I can move that a bit more. There we go. Now, what I was even doing, which I think I did on this one, because I don't have the pencil line cleanup on this one. I think what I did is I did it directly on my tablet, and it's a Cintiq where it has the screen in the tablet, and I was actually using this because it's smaller, and using this right on top of the tablet and drawing the line on the tablet screen and cleaning up from my blue that way. So again, I experiment with lots of different methods and approaches to things to see what is the best method for the challenge in hand. And every solution or every challenge comes up with a different solution. So it's always being creative and thinking of the best way to solve those problems. Okay, so once this is all cleaned up, or cleaning it up, or scanning the blue and cleaning it up on the tablet, whatever choice you choose, then in Photoshop, and we'll color this one up. Now here is my right hand view, and in this case I have my rough that I did just to be able to work out my storyboard and such. So now a matter of cleaning this up, line work. But what I did in this case, when I did the cleanup line work, I pre-split. Whereas the last one I had to erase and add to the background and such to be able to get the overlay. This one I anticipated the overlay and actually split that ahead of time. So now, but the other detail I wanted to show is making sure that everything in your film, everything that you do artwork wise and are going to have in your portfolio and your demo reel should be original, should be your own original work. And that helps when you're talking with potential employers and such, saying that what I'm showing you is all my creative and my technical expertise at digitizing things and cleaning up and the whole process. And that'll go a long way. So in this one, the reason I bring that up is I have a poster back here. So even if it's a poster in the background, you have to come up with your own solution. You can't be taking existing artwork and sticking it in there. That's infringement of copyright and such, and you don't want to be showing other people's work in your productions and such. So in this one, I made up a poster, and I actually worked out that design here, and got that a little more sorted out and happy with the design and my don't drink and drive sort of poster, and having that in the back wall to make that work. Okay, so then when I got to my background, here's overlay. Since we're here, go to the overlay. Here's the line work for that overlay, and then my color, and then everything here transparent that we can use. So that will overlay that other background. Okay, so I've got that transparent here, so when it overlays in that background, we see through the glass, and we can see everything behind the counter, and it all works. So the actual background, here we go, all finished. I don't have it in layers here. I don't know why it got combined. But there's that paint again. Mostly flat colors, but just on the one wall, I had a bit of a highlight spot just so that my character jumps out from it. Give it a better contrast to the character colors and such. So always giving that consideration. And here's my poster all colored up and finalized. And again, an original. Everything is original here to work out. So on these backgrounds, you can see, cartoony distortion and such, but playing and making sure the perspective and the structure still all makes sense. Okay, so this is what we're going for. If you have overlays and things, showing here how they split. The next video that I have shows transparent elements for backgrounds. So it kind of goes through the 3ds Max of bringing those in, importing them onto a flat, and how to layer them with the action and such that you're going with. So again, all unique productions, all unique problems and unique solutions. So I'm just trying to address as many as I can to help you along to your final production.